All right, so if I ask you guys what's the biggest threat to the car community right now today, what would be your first answer, right? I'm gonna go ahead, I'll wait, give me an answer. You said the takeover crew, right? The takeover crowd. That is true, but there is another thing out there that has wreaked havoc on a lot of things around the United States, and you probably already heard about this happening. There is a law that has been passed to kind of rectify all of that. Now, doesn't impact the takeover crowd, but something much bigger than that. Let's go ahead and get into the video. You see the title and you see the thumbnail. As I stated at the top of the video, the biggest threat to the car community outside of the takeover crowd is the fact that all our racetracks keep getting shut down. This time and time again, like if you look on anywhere on the internet, you're seeing some racetrack being sold, some racetrack being closed down, being torn down because of the fact that they get to a point where they can't even operate as a business because of people complaining about, oh, I moved next to a racetrack and it's loud. The racetrack is doing racetrack type things. And you know what I'm talking about, right? That type of thing is having a huge impact on the car culture, especially motorsports. This new bill, this new law that just got passed is going to change that and make sure you can't complain about a racetrack being a racetrack. But unfortunately, there's one huge downside to this law that's passed, and we'll see if you like it or not. So I'm gonna put this on the screen for you all. So the new law that just got passed is called Protect the Right to Race. Now, this law is in effect as of October 1st, if I'm not mistaken. This particular law will protect the right to race, of course, but also protect the fact that people cannot complain about racetracks being racetracks in here. That's one of the main reasons why these racetracks keep closing. For the purpose of this article, the following definitions apply: an area of the racing facility within a 3-mile radius of the perimeter of the property or contiguous group of properties where a racing facility is located. So pretty much in layman terms, if you didn't understand that, if you stay within 3 miles of a racetrack, that's kind of establishing this zone or area. Racing facility, defining what a racing facility is a designated area where competitive vehicle and motorsport races are conducted. The term includes the track, the spectator areas, garages, any associated grounds, buildings, or a racing facility shall not be subject to any action brought by the surrounding property under any nuisance or taking cause of action if the developer of the racing facility obtain all permits required for construction of the racing facility and establish a vested right in the development of the property or contiguous group of properties where the racing facility is located before the surrounding property owner either purchased the real property or constructing any building in the area of the racing facility. So in plain English, what does that mean? That means if you decide to move by a racetrack, you can't complain that the racetrack is operating as a racetrack. Time and time again, and you all have seen this happen. This is one of the top reasons why racetracks close. You cannot complain about noise from a racetrack. And there's racetracks around the United States now that have certain noise restrictions put in place because of things like this happening. I think throw this out there. I think Laguna Seca is a racetrack out there that has this. So pretty much, if your car has a certain decibel or sound level, you can't race on the racetrack. And there's other tracks around the United States that this impacts as well. And that's crazy that you got to think about it, because what happens, and y'all all know this, the racetrack gets built first. And you can go around any place in the United States right now. They're constantly tearing down trees. They're clearing way for more houses and things like that. Because over time, these developers want to come in and build houses anywhere there's open land. And typically, these tracks have open land around them. If you go to a lot of tracks right now, they're out in the country. If you're in the Charlotte area, like I am, you go out to Morrisville. Morrisville is in the middle of nowhere. It is out in the country, way in the middle of nowhere. Shady Side is another one, if you're familiar with that. That's in the middle of nowhere too. Over time, and see some of these other tracks, people will buy houses and stay by racetracks. And then they will complain to the racetrack, and they will get enough complaints that things have to happen. Either they put some kind of curfew in place where they say, hey, you can't have events past this time frame. And what happens over time is that when these curfews are put in place, that limits the events that these facilities can have. Like you say, well, you can't have events past 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, something like that. And we all know a lot of times, like these test and tune nights, these events and things like that, a lot of those go into the night a little bit. Not late, but it does go into the night. And 9 or 10 o'clock is not a reasonable enough time to have some of these events. So what happens is that takes away events that these tracks can have, therefore impacting revenue that these tracks can bring in. Because if you're a major event, you don't want to have a time constraint on how long your event could be. You don't want to have a constraint on how loud your event can be. You don't want to have any of that. So you can say, well, if I can't have my event as long as I want to, I'm not going to have my event there. I want to go somewhere where I have the freedom to have my event as long as I want to and as loud as I want to. And then as time goes on, they lose more and more revenue because they can't have these events. They eventually have to shut down. They can't pay the upkeep costs of the event. They can't pay the people that run the facility. They can't do any of that. They don't have any money coming in, and therefore they're gonna have to eventually shut down. And what's gonna happen is the same developers that go out and buy all the land around these tracks and people move in and then complain about the track being a track, they go to the facility like, hey, yeah, we see you have the track here that you're not using. You're probably losing money. We want to buy the track so we can clear it out for houses. We're gonna give you this amount of money, and people end up having to sell the track. Now, a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to a lot of these tracks are like family businesses. They are, at the end of the day, they are a business that people make money, and people have lost their business with these tracks because of stuff like this, where you have people complaining about the racetrack being a racetrack. I will say this, like I stayed in an area where I was somewhat close to a racetrack. If some of y'all are kind of familiar with Hickory a little bit, y'all know there's a racetrack right in Hickory. I stayed a good 2 miles from the track and I could still hear the track. Now, being a person that likes cars, that didn't bother me, but there are people out there that get bothered by that type of thing and want to complain over and over and over again. That leads to these tracks getting shut down. Now, the byproduct of these tracks getting shut down, you remember when I talked about the takeover crowd at the top of the video? If you shut these tracks down, all the people that go to these tracks to race and have fun in a legal way now don't have anywhere to go. They don't have a place to race or do whatever in a safe manner. These tracks not only host drag racing events, some tracks host events where you're able to do drifting, where you're able to do burnouts and donuts and things like that. I've been to a few events that they had at actual tracks where people can do this in a safe manner. But what happens is when you close these tracks and close these areas for people to do this, they have no choice but to go to the street. Now, some people don't even care about going to begin with, but that's on them. They go to the street to have these type of things. They go to the street to have these type of events where they do burnouts and donuts and stuff in a way that's not legal. And now you have another problem on your hand, and the cycle just continues to bubble over. Now, instead of people complaining about the racetrack, now people are complaining about the stuff that's going on in the street illegally. But if we're being completely honest, that's not the only thing that's killing the car culture. One of the biggest things that's killing the car culture is the fact that you can't even buy your own car and enjoy it without having to look over your shoulder constantly. That's why you must invest in this device here. This is my Dodge Charger Scat Pack wide body. It's big, it's loud, it's bright red. It simply grabs attention no matter where I go. Unfortunately, I bought a car that is 60 times more likely to be stolen than any other car on the road. With the long list of mods and things I bought for this car, one of the first things I installed on my car was this. CarLock, the world's best GPS tracker and alert system. With CarLock, you will be able to live track your car with the GPS from your phone. Also, get alerts sent directly to your phone if anything is going on with your car, such as vibrations, engine starting, the car moving when it shouldn't be moving, or if there's a loss of power, your CarLock will get an alert for that as well. Be sure to get your CarLock. Use my link down in the description below and these discount codes to get a 10% discount on your CarLock purchase, as well as a 14-day free trial of the CarLock service as well. Let's get into the video. Now I know what you're saying. Hey, I remember at the top of the video, you said there was a downside to this law. I'm gonna tell you the thing that might make some of y'all upset. The downside of this law has only passed in North Carolina. So if you live anywhere outside of North Carolina, I do apologize. You may not have this law in your state. Now, there are some states that may have it, but I know for a fact North Carolina is one, but some of you guys may need this law to save some of your racetracks. But the good thing about this law, with North Carolina passing this law, North Carolina has a lot of active tracks right now. A lot of them, including a lot of dirt tracks, asphalt circuit tracks, drag strips, things of that nature. I'm fortunate to be in an area where I'm actually close to 2 drag strips, well, actually 3 drag strips that I could go to and get my runs in. I got Mooresville, I got Shady Side, Z-Max, that's different. I mean, they do have the streetcar takeover events there. Like I said, there's a lot of tracks here that you can get your fix for motorsports. You got the track days you can do at Charlotte Motor Speedway. You have a lot of tracks, a lot of places where these events take place. And I also mentioned these drag strips host other events as well. For example, the Z-Max drag strip here also hosts dirt bike racing. They also host autocross as well. So there's a lot of other events that happen in a lot of these other tracks too. So it's not about just drag racing. It's about just having an outlet to do these things with your car and push your car to limit in a safe manner. A lot of people, not only from the track side of things, that they own these tracks and this is a business for them. A lot of people that go to these tracks and like to enjoy pushing their cars to limit here, that's something from them. That's a hobby that a lot of people love to do, and a lot of these people make a livelihood out of doing this type of thing. A lot of people are able to turn that hobby into something bigger later on down the line. I mean, you gotta think about it as well. We got go-kart tracks out here as well. We got an outdoor go-kart track. There's a lot of things that we have in this state that you can get your motorsport fixes, whether you want to be a spectator, whether you want to participate in it. There's a different avenues to do that, and thankfully for this bill, we can make sure we can continue this way down the line. Only thing that's going to happen down the line, more people are going to build houses. More people are going to move into these said houses. More people are going to move into these areas, buy racetracks. But now you can't complain. You can't say anything about it. You can't do anything about it. All you can do, you can move there and listen to the cars go vroom vroom. You can't call anybody. You can't complain about it. You can't write your local government. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do about it now. And like I said, thankful for this bill to have happened. As someone who enjoys the vroom vroom, that enjoys motorsports and things like that, I'm happy about this. And I hope more states do adopt this if you don't already have it. So this is a win. This is a huge win for the car community, if you ask me. No more of this, tracks are closing down because people are complaining about the noise. There's a lot of tracks that have become victims of this around the United States, but that will not happen in North Carolina. So if a track in North Carolina closes, it's for other reasons. It's not going to be because too many people complained about the noise, which is, like I said, a great thing to happen. North Carolina is home to a lot of motorsports, and to allow people to continue to thrive in that area and to have these things to do going forward, that is a huge win. Now, one last thing I want to mention before I wrap up the video is the fact that you got to think here, like I said, with North Carolina having so many motorsports in play, Z-Max, NASCAR, all of that, they probably passed a law to protect all of that because of how big motorsports are here. Some of the reason for this being passed, but at the end of the day, it still does help the state as a whole, right? You can't close down a track because these people want to keep complaining, and they just have to, in lack of better terms, shut up and deal with it. So that is going to wrap up today's video, man. The right to race law has been passed for North Carolina. Let me know in the comments below, does your state have a law similar to this? If so, let me know where you're at. If not, let me know how you feel about it. Is this something you feel that your state should adopt as well? If you made it this far in the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned to all the latest car stuff I have going on. We do a lot of car content on the channel, so make sure you are tuned in to all of that. We will catch you on the next video. We are out. Cut it.